Topic 1. What my father means to me. What is the purpose of a father? What does a father mean? Now, obviously, this answer is going to be different for everybody. But with this topic, I wanted to share my own personal experiences, showing what my dad really means to me. You know, I think in the United States, and the rest of the world really, the role of a father has been diminished and not valued nearly as high as it should be in modern society. I think there's a statistic that in the US alone, something like 25% of children grow up with no father in the home. Many of them have never even known their father. That to me is an absolute tragedy, and I think it affects every country on earth to some degree. This is why I felt called to write this topic for the good dads like mine, who made it so I never had to go through anything like that. So this topic, I think, is really so I can show the greatest amount of gratitude, respect, and love for my own dad. You know, whenever I think about how grateful I am to my own father, I also think about my favorite song, which is Leader of the Band by Dan Fogelberg, written in 1981. This song was written right before Dan's own father died, and written for him because he was a high school band leader who Dan really respected and loved. One of the lines of the song says, quote, "He gave to me a gift I know I never can repay." Now, Dan here is talking about his father's gift of music, because his father literally was a leader of the band. But I think about it in the gifts that my dad gave to me, and the things he inspired me to do. To learn history, which I'm making a career out of. To play basketball, which I really enjoy and has been a great sport throughout my whole life. And working out at the gym, you know. If you see my dad now, you know he definitely inspired me to do that. But another good quote from the song is, "He earned his love through discipline, a thundering velvet hand. His gentle means of sculpting souls took me years to understand." Now, again, Dan's referencing the power of his music, the discipline that it took to lead a band, to be the conductor. But I take this verse to mean the discipline that my dad made me wise to, and corrected me when I was wrong. And I realize now that the discipline that he made me wise to was necessary for my growth, humility, and respect for authority. One more line I'll share from this song is, quote, "And Papa, I don't think I've said I love you near enough." Now this line, it's so true for my life, because I definitely have not said that or made that known enough to my own dad. This topic is kind of serving as a way to say that, or show that. With this topic, I also want to touch on what fatherhood means from a biblical perspective. As a Christian, I view God as my Father in heaven, but I believe God gave us earthly fathers as a representation, as a way to show on earth how he loves and cares for us. One of my favorite Bible verses is Psalm 103:13, and it reads, quote, "As a father has compassion on his children, so does the Lord have compassion on those who fear him." And this fear is not the same as being terrified of God. We couldn't love him if we were terrified of him. But it means to obey him, to respect his authority and have reverence for him. And every father on earth, your kid has to know that. And it means to obey him, and how we're supposed to respect and obey our biological fathers. But I think about who God as a father is to us by remembering how my dad loved and cared for me. He didn't just inspire and discipline me, but he also provided for my every need. Actually, one of my other favorite Bible verses is Luke 12:32. And it reads, "Be still, little flock, for your Father has been pleased to give you the kingdom." And so, see, since God is our Father, he's given us an inheritance. And I kind of equate that or think about what my dad has given to me. Again, just like the song said. And, I always felt that my dad, he loved to give. The verse says, our Heavenly Father is pleased to give us the kingdom. But our dads, they love to give. And my dad certainly did, whether it was with his money or his time. He sacrificed so much for me. And I don't think I'll ever be able to truly, I don't think I truly appreciated that until very, very recently, after I even became an adult. One last quote I think I would like to share is Proverbs 2:26, and that reads, "Start a child on the way he should go, and when he is older, he will not depart from it." Although my dad isn't a Christian, I pray that someday he will be. But even though he wasn't, I think he started me on a good path, encouraging me to travel, encouraging me to go to college in Greece. He did the best he could with what he had and what he knew, not just from a Christian perspective, but as my dad, he did the best he could to start me off on a way that he thought would be best for me. And in many ways it is. When I think of what a good father is, what qualities he has, I call to mind, I think I can think of 5 things, 5 virtues of a good father. One of them is discipline, encouragement, protection, provision, and playfulness. And most of those things I've already covered. I didn't really cover playfulness, but my dad certainly, with his time, he spent a lot of time with me, and we used to play so many games and stuff. And I'm very grateful for that I really got to know my dad through games and wrestling with him and playing sports with him. And so I'm very, very grateful for that. But yeah, I think I've covered pretty much most of these, but I want to make sure I say that my dad was amazing in all of these things. He wasn't perfect. And when I become a father someday, there's many things I plan to and desire to do different. But that's okay, because another quality of a good father is encouraging his children to do better than he did. I'm not perfect, and I will never be a perfect dad. When I have kids, I'm going to make plenty of mistakes, I think, or I know. And I also know that there'll be many aspects of my journey through parenthood that I'll desire for my kids to do better than I did, than I could ever do. But the final quality I believe makes a good father a good father is one that really sums up, one that combines everything I've already stated and much more. The best dads out there do everything for their family in love. Every action they take, everything they think, every word they say, everything they do for their kids, it's out of just an unconditional love for them. And whether it ends up for good or bad, there's something to be said about that, I think. But, there's so much that I wish my dad had done different, I'll never forget that no matter what he did, it was out of absolute love for me. And most things he did get right. But like I said, the things that didn't end up going right are things I thought he could have done better. I always know that he did it out of absolute love for me. And because of that, I can easily forgive anything he did that ultimately didn't turn out right. And I can say with confidence that I'm forever grateful for everything he did. And I love him so much. So to end this, I'll just say, Dad, thank you for raising me how you did and for being who you are. From your son, Garrett.